Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to catch up with you back in town and wanted to share with you something that hit my heart actually last night on the way on the trip home. It is about the man in the mirror. And so yesterday I was traveling and thinking about our reflection in the mirror. I don't remember what it was that hit me that brought that up, but thought I would share it with you. In James 1, verse 22 through 25, it says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." So the scripture is basically discussing how we deceive ourselves. And if you think about looking in the mirror, you don't look in the mirror and see your hair all messed up or see, stuff stuck in your teeth and not fix it. I mean, you wouldn't think someone would do that. But that's what the scripture is saying we're like. What we do is we see the ugliness in us and whatever's messed up, whether it's our hair or our teeth or whatever. And the scripture is talking about how we walk away and forget what we look like. So I'm sure you've heard the famous song by Michael Jackson called "Man in the Mirror." And he's talking about a man who sees the suffering around him and he's not going to ignore it. And one of the verses he uses, it says, "I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change." And I love that. I love that song. I love that verse. And I was thinking about yesterday when this came to me that what if we all had a mirror strapped in front of us? Like it was attached to our body somehow, far enough away that we could see ourselves, and that everything we did, we could see a reflection of ourselves in the mirror. What would we be like? So I don't know if I've told you this story yet, but it's a powerful example of what we're talking about, where imagine two people sitting in front of each other, facing each other, and then they both have mirrors behind them. And if one person jumps up and is ugly, one person jumps up and is ugly, then the other person jumps up is ugly. They're jumping up and down, looking at each other and seeing, their face facing each other. But if one of the people stop jumping up and down, all the other person sees as they're jumping up and down is their ugly face or reflection in the mirror behind the other person. And really, what reflection do we see? What do you see in the mirror when you look at yourself? If you had a mirror strapped to you, or if you've ever been in that situation where you're jumping up being ugly, the other person is jumping up and being ugly, and when you decide to stop and you decide to stop participating in the ugliness, eventually that other person's going to have to stop because they can't keep looking at themselves in the mirror and how ugly they look. So think about that, example of having a mirror strapped to you, that you would see everything you do as you're doing it. So how would you talk to your kids? How would you treat your spouse? How would you look when you cut that person off when you're driving? Or what would your reflection be when someone hurts you on purpose? What would be reflected in your mirror? Because in our society, honestly, we live in a society that's like mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? We live in a society that teaches us to be consumed with ourselves. And I've seen more and more articles probably over the last year that we live in a narcissistic society. We live in the selfie nation, and people just completely consumed with themselves. And everything from the magazines to the shows we watch, you can tell that that's kind of the time in history that we're living in. And in Proverbs 27:19, it says, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." And however your life is, whatever it is you're reflecting, whatever it is that is coming out of you is who you are inside. So we're not meant to be a mirror on the wall kind of person. We're not meant to be a narcissistic person. When we choose Christ, when we choose God, we are meant to be the reflection of Christ. So if we were looking in the mirror and that mirror was strapped to us and someone does something to us, the reflection we should see, or the reflection that we should be able to see because of our response, is of Christ. So in 2 Corinthians 3:18, it says, we all with unveiled faces are looking as in a mirror at the glory of the Lord, and are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory. This is from the Lord who is the Spirit. And we are meant to be the reflection of Christ. We are meant to be the image of Christ in this world, in our lost world. The world is very lost, and if all you have to do is turn on the TV and you'll see that. But when we talk about the man in the mirror, who are you going to be? What is your reflection going to be in every situation you're dealing with? In Hebrews 1:2-3, it says, but in these last days he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the universe. The Son is the radiance, or reflection, of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. So when we look back at the original scripture we started with at the end of James 1:25, it says, whoever looks into the perfect law intently, the law that gives freedom, and continues to do it, not forgetting what he has heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. So the point is that we need to be people that look into the scriptures intently. We need to be people that look into the scriptures as if we're looking in a mirror, meaning, what is it reflecting back at us? Because a lot of people don't read the Bible or study the scriptures because they just don't like what it says, because it goes against what they're actually doing, because it's opposite of how they're living. And what it's meant to be is that when you read the scriptures and you see something that you're not doing or something that you're not like, is that you're going to make the change, like the Michael Jackson song, you're going to make the change to reflect what the scriptures say. And we make adjustments in ourselves from the inside out, from the heart out, and we clean ourselves up. We get rid of the garbage in our lives so that we can be transformed into the image of Christ, so that we can reflect Christ on this earth. And it says if we will do this, we will be blessed in what we do. So I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.